In this team selection video, I've got a benching headache from my defenders, but that's not always a bad thing, and I have got an unpopular opinion about players from a certain team, and I'll reveal that later. Building from the back, it is a difficult decision picking Pickford against Brighton at home or Turner against Villa at home. The clean sheet odds are exactly the same. I am leaning towards Pickford slightly more because Everton have got 3 clean sheets in the last 4 matches in all competitions, 2 of which have come in the last 3 Premier League matches, so I'm glad that I've kept Pickford. The patience has paid off. It looks like I am going to stick with the Pickford and Turner goalkeeper combination because right up until that game week 19 wildcard, there's only 2 difficult fixtures. This is one of them, and they've got the home advantage in both of them. The fixtures are looking favourable in defence. I've got Diaz against Bournemouth at home, Tsimikas against Luton away, and Cash against Forest away. Unfortunately, that does mean that I've had to bench Trippier, but that is against Arsenal at home, which is a difficult fixture. I don't fancy Newcastle to keep a clean sheet in that one, and despite Trippier having really good attacking threat for a defender, especially of recent game weeks, don't forget that Arsenal have a good defence, so it will be more difficult to break them down. He definitely doesn't come in over Cash. We've seen how much attacking threat that he's got this season. His fixture against Forest away is much easier. Tsimikas has got a decent amount of attacking threat as well. Whilst it's not as high as Trippier or Cash, it's still quite high, and it's against Luton away, which is a very easy fixture. As for Diaz against Bournemouth at home, he plays for the best defence in the league, and they've got the highest clean sheet odds this game week. Therefore, although he doesn't have as much attacking threat as Trippier, in fact he's got nowhere near, he more than compensates for that with a clean sheet odds. They're higher than 50%, so we're likely to get a return there. As for Baldock, who's my second defender on the bench, he's got a very easy fixture against Wolves at home, and he's got attacking threat, but unfortunately he does play in that Sheffield United defence, and he has just returned from injury, so his expected minutes aren't too high at the minute. His teammate Asul is the last player on the bench, and he is still carrying a knock, so it looks like he's not going to feature in this match. It looks like a lot of FPL managers have a benching headache this game week, so if you have a benching headache and you can't decide, or you just need any help with your FPL team whatsoever, leave a comment in the comment section down below and I'll get back to you with my advice. Moving on to midfield, if you remember at the start of the video, I said I've got an unpopular opinion and I think it's worth keeping Rashford and Bruno for the next 3 fixtures. They face Fulham, Luton and Everton. If you watch most of my videos, you'll know that I'm a fixture man, but I do understand why you would want to sell them. United as a whole have been shocking for the past 2 fixtures, but to be fair, in one of them, Bruno and Rashford only played 25 minutes, so you can't blame that on them. Then in the City match, they played the best team in the league. You could easily argue the best team in the world. Then before that, they won 3 of the last 4 fixtures. So I do think United are being a bit underrated due to recency bias, but as a team, I get that they could do better. Something that proves a recency bias is the fact that we didn't captain Haaland against United because we didn't think that was an easy fixture. Salah did have an easy fixture, so most people went for him. Even the people that didn't own him wanted to captain him. This game week, Haaland's got an easy fixture, Salah's got an easy fixture, everyone's flocking towards Haaland, at least nearly everyone anyway. That just goes to show if United are such low quality as most people are making out, everyone would have captained Haaland because he would have been an easy fixture. But to be fair, there is a lot to consider. It is quite toxic with the fans and the board, so I do think that could run onto the pitch, and this poor form could continue. We'll see about that. But to be fair, you've got to look at players as individuals, and these are still good individual FPL players. Whilst they've not had the best of seasons, if you look at them in recent seasons, they can still perform at their absolute best, and they can provide good value for money, especially in fixtures like these. So my argument is, if they've done it before, they can do it again, and it would be in the next 3 matches if they are going to do it. If you want any player from United, I strongly advise you take a step back away from the noise, and that includes my opinion as well, and decide whether it's worth keeping them or not. I wouldn't necessarily bring them in, because I do think there's better options in midfield, and you're already in a position where you're already going to bring in a midfielder anyway, but I wouldn't spend a free transfer or take a hit on getting rid of these players. Anyway, next up in midfield is Saka against Newcastle away. Whilst I've benched Trippier because it's a difficult fixture from a defensive perspective, I'd also argue that it's a difficult fixture from an attacking perspective for Saka. However, I won't be selling Saka because he's got Burnley at home next game week. He's also got Wolves at home and Luton away coming up as well. Son's opponents aren't easy to break down from an attacking perspective either. That's Chelsea, but at least he's got the home advantage. and I will be keeping him because he's got Wolves away next game week, then Villa at home the game week after that. Even with the difficult fixtures, he's playing in a forward position, but he's getting midfielder points so he gets an extra point per goal scored. He's got the clean sheet point potential as well, and he might even be on penalties because he's a talisman. We'll see about that, but I think he's worth keeping, even in the difficult fixtures. Someone who doesn't have a difficult fixture is Mbumo against West Ham at home, but he does have 2 difficult fixtures after this game week. It's Liverpool away and Arsenal at home. If I do keep him for those 2 game weeks, the fixtures get easy again. I'll just have to see if it's worth keeping him or not. The chances are that I will keep him because he's got 27 points in the last 2 game weeks. He's dirt cheap, he's on penalty duties, just like Son, he's playing out of position, and his underlying stats are very promising for his price tag. Up front is Haaland against Bournemouth at home. I'm so glad that I didn't sell him last game week. I had a few options that I could have gone for. Could have gone for just Salah, just Haaland, which is the option that I took, or Salah and Haaland, and it turns out the one that I did was actually the optimal route. Obviously, there's a few more game weeks to go, and I'm actually planning on bringing Salah in game week 14, so I'm planning on rolling the free transfer this game week, so I can make a double transfer in game week 14. That's if I don't have many fires to put out. I think captains is a no-brainer this game week. Whilst Salah faces Luton away, Haaland's got Bournemouth at home. They are 2 poor defences, but Haaland's got the home advantage, and that's significant in this. Whilst I think it's clear-cut that Haaland's better, I don't think he's a lot better, and I think if you own Salah and not Haaland, I wouldn't necessarily knee-jerk him in. I'd probably just captain Salah. Obviously that would depend on the scenario, but I can't think of many scenarios where it would be worth it. If you did take that route, you've not learned any new information since. We knew Haaland had a high ceiling, which he proved last game week yet again, and we knew he had an easy fixture this game week. I think you just stick with it. Lastly is Pedro against my team, Everton away. It was a difficult watch last game week. Pedro didn't even start. He got subbed on. He didn't get anything when he came on. One of the alternatives was Nketiah, and he got a hat-trick. Now, the reason that I went for Pedro is that Welbeck was expected to be out longer than Jesus, so I thought that's another free transfer to make in future. So far, that free transfer hasn't worked out. There is a lot of ground to gain since that, and hopefully he can gain that ground back by the game week 19 wildcard. It does look like he'll be on penalty duties when he's on the pitch. It's just the expected minutes that are the problem. If you've made it to this point in the video, you've clearly found it informative, so make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you here again next game week.